Hi, welcome to You, Me and Mediumship. I'm going to talk about mind, body and soul, the link of the three, and why we need to understand that link, where it all fits together, how it involves life source itself, the spirit flowing through all three aspects of that. And I'm not going to do it in that order. I will start with body because that's quite self-explanatory to some degree. So with the body, obviously, that's the vessel. That is the temple, some call it. It is what we express ourselves through. Without it, we would not experience a thing. We wouldn't learn anything. We would not move forward spiritually. And obviously, that also goes for the mind. Without the body, the mind would not gain anything. It needs, obviously, to perceive. It needs to experience. So it's important that we try and link all three together. And obviously there is a balance. So the body itself, okay, like I said, is the vessel. So that's where we kind of express ourselves through. It's just as important, but only in this realm, obviously it's just as important as the other two aspects, as the spirit, soul, if you like, and the mind. Because without it, like I said, we would learn nothing whatsoever. So at this point of our journey, it's very important that that body is looked after. So obviously that's through diet, exercise, etc., etc. We see enough of that. The adverts for dietary supplements and what have you. But I believe wholeheartedly that for any disease or any illness, then it is out there somewhere in nature, the cure. Maybe a combination of things, maybe a mixture of things, but I do believe there is a cure for everything. And obviously we need to find it. And what a great job some of the scientists do in doing so. But I do believe there's a natural cure for most, if not all, illness. So the body, okay, like I said, is very important. We look after it so we can keep it going for as long as we can so that we can experience life itself and we can learn from that. The mind, and I think I've said this before a few times, has its purpose. And it's important at this stage that we need to understand that the mind and the spirit must work in harmony. There has to be that balance between the two. In fact, there's a balance between all three of what I'm talking about. But at the moment, I just want to talk about that balance between mind and spirit and soul. When we're born, obviously, the body itself has its function. Obviously, we need to breathe, makes sense. We need to see, we need to hear. So the mind will learn from our own experiences, through our senses, through what we hear, through what we see. So the mind and the body link very strongly together. The mind is programmed through our senses. We learn through experience. So that experience is the program, if you like, that the mind functions from. So those two have kind of got a natural link, the mind and the body. They have to work together. The mind will protect us. It will make sure we are fed, if you like. It makes sure we are safe. And it makes sure we have all those comforts, shelter, things like that. So the mind kind of looks after us to a degree, but it's very practical. The soul, the spirit, that life source is always, always present and works in harmony, if you're lucky, with the mind. The two work alongside each other. Through experience, things that we experience, we have an idea of how to handle those experiences. That idea comes from self, not the mind. The mind, like I said, is a very practical thing. It has its place. Things that we experience, especially emotionally, the ups and downs of life, if you like, the answer to those problems and the way that we deal with those problems, the way we overcome those problems, the spirit itself will have the answer for that. You haven't, as a soul, as a spirit, all of a sudden appeared. That energy is something that has walked a pathway through many lifetimes. Obviously, there are old souls and there are new souls. So there's a kind of limit to what that deep down knowledge of the soul has. It could be vast or it could be quite small, depending, like I said, on the age of that soul. The problem comes really when we no longer link mind and spirit together. There is no longer that harmony, no longer that balance. So whereas the soul itself within us communicates itself with mind and gives us the inclination as to how we should deal with something, where it pulls that information from many, many lifetimes, lessons that we've learnt in the past. If we do not listen to those lessons, if we do not listen to those gut feelings, then the mind will simply act in a material way. In other words, look after yourself. I'm here to protect. I'm here to gain. I'm here to get what I can get. I'm here to get as much as I can, because that way I know you will be safe. The mind will not consider others. It will not consider the right thing to do. It will only consider what's best for it. That's what happens when there's no balance between mind and soul. So the body, very straightforward. It's our vessel of expression. It's how spirit, soul, and mind express themselves. And they can express themselves in a beautiful way if there is balance between that mind and that soul. We have knowledge from other lifetimes, other experiences. We have learned through other lifetimes. That's the whole reason we are here. There will be elements that we haven't learned, that we are yet to experience. That's why we are here, to experience and fill in those gaps and to progress and to move forward as energy, as spiritual beings. We all will make mistakes. If we were perfect, we would not be here. So we all have our lessons to learn. They all vary, soul to soul. Some would have learnt many lessons, some maybe only a few. So we're all at that different point of learning. If we can grasp that balance, if we can ensure we listen to that inner self, we will have the answers to overcome many of life's problems. Not always, like I said, there are gaps and there are bits and pieces to learn from. And that is why we're here, to grow spiritually. So the mind being material, that computer that sits within that vessel of the body, has its purpose, like I said, to protect, to make sure you are safe, fed, watered, if you like, whilst you go through this experience. It is your protection. It is also, obviously, as it perceives outside influences, when you've got that balance, the mind and your soul will work together with dealing with that circumstance, but in a good way, in the right way. If you have no experience from a handful of lifetimes, then you will simply have to work that one out for yourself. And if you get that wrong to a degree, you will learn from that. Because you will feel that the way you acted in that circumstance was not right. You haven't pulled that piece of information from past experience because you wouldn't have got it wrong. But what you feel inside is that you felt quite uncomfortable while dealing with it in that way, that it didn't feel right. And that's where the energy of spirit that works with you comes in. The teachers. You didn't feel right. You didn't like the way you acted. It felt totally wrong, but you still did it. You can guarantee when that happens that that is an experience you are here to learn from. So if you don't feel right after you've done something, or you simply acted in a way that just didn't feel right, in fact it upset you to a degree, then you are being told. And you need to learn from that feeling and put into action next time round the right way that you've been guided to act in that circumstance. So it's in a way it's quite straightforward how mind, body and soul work. You're unlikely, if you've got that balance of mind and spirit, mind and soul, if you've got that balance, you are unlikely to make the wrong decision. I'm not talking financially, I'm talking about spiritually. You are unlikely to make the wrong decision spiritually if you listen to self and self's experience from past. If you're unsure of a circumstance that you're in, of how to act, and you act wrong and it feels wrong and you have regret, then you know that probably the chances are that was a lesson that you needed to learn. We need to learn to listen to both inner self and to that energy that surrounds us, to our helpers and our guides. And by doing so, it will make life a lot simpler. So in a nutshell, before I go, mind is your protector to help you live as long as you can, to be able to experience and to learn the lessons that you are here to learn. Soul and spirit already knows what those lessons are. It knows why you're here. So the mind is your computer, your protector. Learns from the senses, from what it sees, from what it hears. The problem with mind is that it takes on board an awful lot of what it sees and what it hears. And those things that you see and hear are not always correct. So it's a big mistake to live by mind only. So the body, like I said, is a vessel in which to express. In a way, we express what we've learned throughout this journey, be it rightly so or wrongly so. It is a tool for expression. It expresses what is going on within. And the spirit is not necessarily your teacher, the soul, the spirit within self, but it is a book of knowledge. And like I said, where those gaps are, is the whole reason you are here. So when you're unsure about a decision, listen to self or ask for guidance. And there's a good chance you'll get it right. So there is your link between mind, body and soul. Very brief. I might do another video where we go from here onwards, once we've experienced, once we've learned. But this is only a small step of our learning and our understanding. And the next step will also involve a certain amount of learning, but in a different way, at a different degree, really. So I hope you like the video. Any comments, please leave some comments. That'd be great, and I'll answer any questions that you have. Please like, please subscribe, and pop over to Patreon. Link will be in the description for any guidance that you require. If you'd like to learn a bit more about mediumship and how we use that spirit side of self to build on that communication with the energies around us and our loved ones, and obviously we give readings and demonstrations. And if you'd like to learn a bit more about that, then yeah, pop over to Patreon. So take care, have a lovely evening, and I'll speak to you all again soon. Bye for now.